first and foremost, before we do anything, let's pop that bubbly. Pop that bubbly.
We done went through too much.
Keep hope alive. Oh, fine. That's one of my favorite sounds. That and the sound of cash being counted very fastly. When I bought these champagne glasses for my house, I had you in mind.
Okay.
And this is the first time I ever put you. I know. She like her Moet feel to the brim. I have some already topics, questions that we're going to go into. But if you guys want any of your questions asked, drop them on there and I'm going to try to get to them. So, if you don't know, I'm going to give her an introduction. I'm going to let her give her own because she be trying to be all cute and modest and shy. Okay, so my mother is a successful entrepreneur. She has been an entrepreneur my entire life. She's been a police officer, a public defender, city attorney. She's run for public office in the city of Atlanta. You've built every house I ever lived in besides the ones I bought as an adult because I ain't got enough money to afford her.
No.
But you built these beautiful mansion homes. You have a successful construction company, which I think you say is probably your most successful business that you've ever had. But multi-millionaire, successful entrepreneur, mother. She was the first black woman in the United States to own as many daycares as you did at one time. I think you owned 15 daycares. Mm-hmm. Don't even like kids. Just owning shit. Okay? But this is the ultimate hustler. This is where I get it from.
She said too much.
Said too much? Well, cheers to all the too much. Okay? So we about to get into our Moet moments. So you do so much, right?
No.
You have done so much. And none of it really, or you can tell me if you felt like some of it did mesh together or lead into one thing. Like, how did you tell me about how your journey started and like where did you always know you wanted a construction company? Did you always know you wanted to be a lawyer, police officer? Like, how did this journey start of serial entrepreneurship?
Well, first of all, being from humble beginnings, where my mother didn't have a lot, she only had love, and she gave it to us. But the most important thing she gave me and all of my other siblings was that you could do anything in this world you want to do as long as you believe in yourself and trust in God. So with that foundation, I literally believed it. I just thought that, hey, whatever it was out there to conquer, I could conquer it. Did I always know I wanted to be a lawyer? Yes, at the age of 7. Many of you have heard this story before. Perry Mason was my idol. I thought that, hey, that was the way.
People don't know you. No, I'm just playing. You thought many of these people heard this story before.
No, I'm saying for any of you that may have heard it before, you know that I was a big fan of Perry Mason. I was one of those kids that, was defiant. Mama would always tell me to go to bed at night. I wouldn't go. I'd sneak and turn my little black and white TV on that was about this big in my room, put my head under the covers and watch Perry Mason because Perry Mason always won. And I wanted to be just like Perry Mason. But I wanted to be a lawyer because Perry Mason always got his man.
No, I'm saying a winner. He always won. So
he always won. He always won, and I wanted to be just like him. So little did I know, there was a lot of preparation in that. I didn't know that I was going to have to go to college, and I didn't know that I was going to have to go to 3 years of law school, and I didn't know that shit wasn't real. You don't always win. And that was something that I learned. I grew. I didn't even have a path to doing it. I mean, when I went to school, I came out of high school. I had a scholarship to go to the Naval Academy in ROTC. Didn't take it. Foolish in love. Had my first child at the age of 19. Didn't know how I was going to take care of her, but I figured I needed a job, so. That's how I became a police officer. I took a community service job. It was a grant-funded position. Once that position ended, it was, hey, either beat the bushes or, take whatever they had to offer. So I became a police officer, not because I love, police officers. As a matter of fact, where we were from, 4th Ward.
It's fuck the police.
Well, for the most part, they were always dirty. They mistreated blacks. They were not welcome in the community. And it was pretty much the same as it was today. We avoided the police at all costs, but that was the only thing available, so I took it. But I was determined to feed my kid and figure out, life at that point. I was like 19, 20 years old. And then after I realized I had another mouth to feed, I figured I better go back to school. So with that in mind, I worked full-time at night as a police officer from 11 at night to 7 in the morning. I had to do what I could do for my child when she wasn't in school during the day. And at night from 6 to 10, I put myself back through college. So after I put myself back through college, I met this judge working as a police officer who told me that, that was a way that I could afford to go to school. And I was elated, and he told me who to go see at Atlanta Law School. I went over and spoke with the dean, and he looked at my transcript, and they told me that they will allow me to come in for a semester provisionally. That means I had to take the SAT, I had to take the LSAT, and I had to maintain a certain grade point average. And I had to figure out a way to pay for it. So I knew that I wanted to do it. I figured out how to way to get it, get an extra job. And I paid my way through school. Once I paid my way through school, I managed to pass the bar, and voila, I fulfilled my dream of becoming a lawyer.
And you became a public defender.
I became a public defender. I went to the dark side, as they say. I went to the other side.
No, people need public defenders.
Well, they need public defenders because, you know what, and I was a public defender on purpose because I was bound and determined to change that mindset about public defenders. Because everybody's like, oh, they don't care. Oh, they don't, they're overworked and underpaid, which is true. But I had so much compassion for people being treated right. I didn't want anybody that I encountered or anybody that was encountered by the system to not get a fair chance or not get a fair shake.
You were also an entrepreneur on the side.
Oh yeah.
So when did you become an entrepreneur?
Well,
throughout that journey. And
through the midst of that journey, even becoming a police officer and putting myself through law school, always had a side hustle, and that was real estate. My grandfather taught me how to literally do everything you needed to do to a house. I was a quick learner. I paid attention. I got to the point where I was building houses, building spec houses, and I did that for a while. I didn't have any money. I went down to a bank, and I went to a loan officer out in Conyers, and I met with him. I had my little portfolio. I had a vision. And I sat down and I spoke with him. And that day, I convinced this guy, this loan officer, to loan me about $500,000. He didn't give it to me the way I wanted it.
But how did you do that?
Nope. I had a plan. I went down.
Convince somebody.
No, I had a plan. I showed him the things that I'd done. I showed him how committed I was and how serious I was. Even though I was young, my credit was good. I maintained my credit. I paid my bills. I had a steady job. And I was able to convince him and show him that, that's what I wanted to do. And he said, okay, Shalitha, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to give you the loan as you want it. We're going to give it, we want to let you draw it down. So if you go out and you buy the lots, we'll give you the money to build as you go. And that's what I did. I kept my word. I paid my bills. And I stayed focused. Although I still had a full-time job and I'm trying to manage, juggle parenting. I had help, but, the good Lord allowed me to get through it.
Okay. So your first journey into entrepreneurship wasn't necessarily with a business. It was through real estate.
Yes.
Flipping house. So what was your first business? Because I remember S&E Auto Sales. I remember she sold cars. She sold dirt.
Oh, yeah.
You sold dirt at one time. You had the machine with the thing on the back that sold the concrete.
No, that was a dump truck. Yeah. I bought a dump truck at one point.
You used to go to the auto auction and buy cars and flip them.
Yep.
So which one was your first business? Or was it the Renee Group was always your LLC and then you just did everything under that?
The Renee Group was always my corporation. I actually did a lot of the stuff before I formed the Renee Group. And we just, I was always open. I've always been open-minded. If it makes sense, and it made dollars, it made sense to me. And I found an opportunity. And here's the thing. Once I thought it made dollars and it made sense, and then it found, and later it turns out that it didn't make that much money, or it wasn't worth it, I didn't have any problems in reversing it, getting out of it and trying something else.
Got to be attached to the dream of being successful, but not necessarily attached to the vehicle that'll get you there, like the different businesses.
You gotta be attached to yourself. You gotta be attached to your willingness to do whatever it takes to survive. And I say that not in a negative way, but you got to do.
Don't be stealing, killing, and robbing.
No. Yeah. You got to do it the right way. You got to be attached to grinding. Simple as that. You got to be willing to grind. You got to be willing to work hard. Sometimes you may have to work 2 and 3 jobs. You know, it depends on whatever it takes. It depends on what you require. I know I've always liked to eat good, live good. I mean, look at me. I haven't missed any meals. Don't plan to miss any meals. So in order to live the way you want to live, you got to go out and, grind to get it.
So most entrepreneurs that work 9 to 5s like you did, traditional jobs, and then hustle on the side. Most people start off hustling on the side, but a lot of people are at that place where they're trying to figure out, should I quit my job to pursue my dream full term? Or, do I just juggle both? Like, what made you not quit your job? Because you retired from the city of Atlanta while always keeping those businesses.
Believe it or not, I retired because I had the tenure to retire. But in essence,
what does that mean?
That means I had the time. I'd given the city over a period of years.
So you were like, let me just stick it out.
Right. I may as well get the retirement. I mean, hell, they don't pay me enough now. But what was important to me was to make sure I had the lifetime benefit. So I hung in there. But money-wise, the retirement is peanuts. It won't even pay. It doesn't even pay a car note. So. But I'm saying, but it afforded me lifetime insurance. That's the reason why I stuck it out with the city.
Because you were already knee deep, so close to reaching retirement.
Yeah.
So you're like, let me just stick it out 5, 7 more years.
It was hard. It was hard because I had a lot of haters down there. People, you'd be surprised.
Because they're like, how you doing all this on this check?
Right.
We ain't getting
I had a supervisor one time, and this is what was funny. Back then, I think I was probably making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. He's making $120,000, $130,000, And I'd gone to the auction, and I was able to buy me a BMW X5 from the auction. I think I paid it's like $15,000, $16,000 for the car. But the car was reported stolen out of Carolina, and it was recovered in Atlanta. And the value of the car was probably $60,000, $70,000. So I get the car, had a little minor work done to it. It's clean. It's a white BMW.
I learned how to drive on that car.
Yeah, you did. So I get the BMW. I pull up at work one day, and he asked me, this is no lie, he says, I make twice as much money as you. How is it you can afford to drive an X5 and I can't? And my response was, hey.
I'm flipping these bricks. No, that's what.
My response was, hey, you can do anything you want to do. It's just how you choose to spend your money. He chose to have, $100,000 in student debt. Well, I went to law school. We ended up at the same place. I worked and paid my way through it. I didn't borrow my way through it. So when I left law school, I owed nobody a dime. People say, well, hey, you didn't graduate from Emory, you didn't graduate from Yale, you didn't graduate from Harvard. My response to them
the law.
My response to them is this: no, I didn't. I took a non-traditional means of getting there. But at the end of the day, I got the same 6 digits you got. Your law degree carries no more weight than mine. At the end of the day, I can go in any court I want to go into. So what I tell people is, don't get caught up in always believing the only way to do things is a traditional way. And there isn't. It's just not.
So do you?
And I would tell you this: when I took the bar exam, most of the kids there that came from Emory, Yale, and all those other people, I'm the one who spent all of our lunch period telling them what to anticipate on the law, on the questions that come about. Now, after I did that, I felt a little stupid. I went and said, Lord Jesus, please don't let these fools pass, and I don't pass. But at the end of the day, we all pass, and it's history.
So, with that being said, obviously, you've encountered a lot of haters.
Oh, yeah.
Along the way.
Oh, yeah.
So,
absolutely.
how do you deal with the haters, especially at the workplace or, maybe...
Baby, you got to stay prayed up. You got to understand that they're coming for you. The minute you get $1, there's a target on your back. I mean, and the sad thing about it is,
My back. Girl, you on my back. No,
it's not. It's not a racial thing. It's us. It's black sisters. You know, for the most part, coming after other black sisters for no reason other than just they don't like you. They don't like what you got. You know.
that crab in a bucket.
Absolutely. That crab in a bucket mentality. So be prepared. You know, like I was listening to Tyler Perry the other couple of months ago, and he was speaking at a commencement exercise, and he said exactly that. You would think that once you reach a certain level of success, there'll be more people for you and cheering you on, but it turns out that there are more people against you, and they're right there in your camp. These are not foreigners, or these are not people that don't know you. These are people that are close to you, that are in your circle, or the ones that are steady trying to stab you in the back, talk about you, trying to pull you down. You know, I've had employees that I've been good to, you know, that have tried to hurt me in some way. You know, the only thing I can do about that is just pray for them and just ask God to continue to cover me and keep going.
They say we look just alike.
I'm the better looking one.
You is true. No, I'm just like, okay, so you had a lot of haters, but what about mentors? Did you have any mentors along the way? Anybody like reaching back, pulling you up, teaching you the game? Anybody you felt like at this point in my life, this was the person God sent, missing links? Like,
let me say this. I won't say that I had necessarily mentors along the way. God has sent the right people at the right time to help me accomplish certain things that I needed to accomplish at the moment. Now, I have people in my life now that I respect near and dear who counsels me. Everybody needs somebody in their line of business, in their personal lives, spiritually, whatever, that you can go to and have a conversation with or seek guidance. Because, you know, let's face it, we can't do it alone in this world. You cannot be successful in this world without having a team. And you need a team all the way around. You need a team at home. I have an excellent partner at home. You need a team at work. I have excellent people that I surround myself with at work. I have excellent friends that I can go to and counsel. Now, I will tell you this now. When you build this team, you better keep that circle mighty small. The more successful I become, the less friends I have.
well, that sounds lonely. No, but you have a lot of friends. They just might not be close, and you're not running and telling your everyday business.
I have a lot of people that I know, a lot of people that I respect, a lot of people that I trust. But my most intimate things, I keep it really close.
Because I feel like I'm a queen, right? And I got this kind of from Game of Thrones. And every king or queen, conqueror, ruler in every society always has a council. Mm-hmm. So on my council, I have somebody I go to when I need spiritual guidance, or when I need to tap into that level closer to God, and only that person kind of, we're on that same frequency. And then I have like a close home girl, you know what I'm saying? Or if I need financial guidance, I have financial advisors, or you know what I'm saying, I might come to you about certain things. So I feel like, you should have a council or a team, whatever you want to call it, and then each person plays different roles.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because nobody is really going to be everything you need. Yeah.
No.
It's hard for one person to be everything. So how do you pick those team members? How do you pick
believe it or not, you don't pick them, they pick you.
Or God pick them for you.
That's right. God picks them and they pick you.
But how can you trust? So like, because you have been in so many different businesses, like you said, you went into with Earl, whatever his name was. His name was Earl.
People, let me tell you something. It doesn't take long. If you are true to whatever venture you're into at the moment, those people who are for you and those people who are against you, or those people who you shouldn't surround yourself with, will be revealed to you within due time. Believe me, you don't have to go out looking extra or whatever. They will be revealed to you in due time. And you'll know that, hey, I should cut that person. I really shouldn't be involved.
How you have those conversations with people? Have you ever had to cut somebody out of the business? Like, you know what? This ain't working.
Yeah.
I want to continue doing this business. It's just not with you.
You don't have to really say you want to continue doing the business. You just simply take the attitude, hey, this isn't working with you and I. And see, because if you're in a business venture and that person has 51% and you got 49, then you need to understand what your role is going to be. You need to know going into that business, they control the shots. So if you're okay with that, that's fine. But if you want to be in a position to walk, or if you want to be in a position to grow the business, in the event it doesn't work out with that person, then you need to be in the driver's seat.
Okay. Moet moment, where we sip Moet and we are talking all things. Today our topic is entrepreneurship and business and her journey through that. So that's what we're talking about today. So if you have any questions, drop them on here and we can ask them. They said, what age did you start investing?
I would have to say I bought my very first house at 19.
That was an investment property or your personal home?
That was my investment property.
So you bought, somebody wants to know what's the Renee, we'll get into that next. You bought an investment property before your primary resident. And so many people that are in real estate right now have been saying that that's the way to go. Before you buy, everybody that all the real estate moguls and everybody I follow say, before you buy your dream home, invest in rental properties or investment properties first, because those are going to create the revenue for you to qualify for bigger loans for when you want to get your home, or you could just buy it outright cash. So you knew that at 19. How did you know that? Why you didn't tell me that?
Because you were too busy trying to get.
Because my first house I lived in it for 7 years. So why you didn't tell me that?
Because you weren't focused at that point. Some people are not focused at that point. But listen. You had to get to that point. And this is what I've learned with you over the years. You know, I've fought with you and fought with you and fought with you over the years to impose what my dreams for you. Things that I thought you should be doing. The way I thought you should have, went about this or went about that. And it's been a constant damn battle. So you know what I learned to do? When you turn 18, 19, bag the hell up. And say, okay, you go ahead, do it your way, and when you hit that damn brick wall, come on back, mama gonna tell you, I'm gonna be here for you, I'm gonna help you lick your wounds, and we're gonna move forward.
Oh, you always gonna be there?
Always.
You promise?
Promise.
Like, even if I mess up really,
look, I'm gonna be here till the day you die.
Okay.
And God call me home first.
I gotta get out of jail free card.
But you only allow one fuck up at a time. Now that means you ain't gonna make the same mistakes over and over and over and over.
No.
I think you're gonna come run back. Now you get an opportunity to make a different one.
I don't really make that many bad mistakes.
Well, I'm just telling you, if you decided to.
First of all, I want to make a disclaimer. If I met you prior to January 1st, 2020, I don't know you.
It is and always has been a construction company. But we started out with a different focus in the early.
I'm definitely gonna put this on
2000.
YouTube. Everybody put it on YouTube.
We started out building houses. Once I realized that I liked that renovating houses and building houses and didn't mind getting my hands dirty and my feet wet, I incorporated the Renee Group, and that was our focus. But as you know, the market took a turn, and I was introduced to the utility construction side of things. And so we shifted our focus and we became a utility construction company. That means that we do primarily water and sewer infrastructure for municipalities all around the country.
So would you say that's been your most successful or lucrative business today?
Oh, hell yes.
So
in other words, people,
she's in the shit business.
I'm in the shit business. And I love it. It's a
What does that
business.
mean? So you mean when she says she's in the shit business, that means like if something goes wrong with the city sewer or
if there's a water main break, the city's going to call us. Some cities. Our primary client right now is DeKalb County. We do a lot of their emergency, repairs on their sewers and the water lines and things like that.
So how has that been being in that business as a woman, as a black woman?
It's tough. It's as a black woman, let me just tell you something. You're gonna have haters. You're gonna have haters. Company. Yeah, you're gonna have haters. Absolutely. It's a competitive world. Believe me. It's a competitive world, and you have to put yourself in a position to where you compete with them. My competitors now are multi-billion-dollar companies that have been around for hundreds, 10s of 20 years, and a lot of them have literally said, when they see the Renee group, where in the hell does she come from? Who is this bitch? We go to a bid opening and we beat them out in the bids. A lot of them look at us like this bitch, And all I do is laugh because we're committed to it. This is the place that God put me. I'm true to it, and they just better watch out. We intend to take the world by storm.
What do you feel like the do's and the don'ts to success, to entrepreneurship?
Never give up on yourself. Never be afraid of reinventing yourself. If that shit don't work, leave it alone. Try something else.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask you that. So how do you know when it's time to give something up, or it's just what's the difference between it's time to move on and this is just the obstacle, or this is just the hurdle that you need to?
When you keep getting them same goddamn obstacles and them same hurdles and nothing positive is coming out of it, ding dong. So, time to move on.
Okay, ding dong, it's time to move on. Hashtag that. Okay, we creating hashtags over here. Okay, so ding dong, it's time to move on. So, I think this is very important. I know you don't want to necessarily be dishonest with these people, but at what age did you become or finally make your first $1 million?
Let me back up and say that when you say make $1 million, I think you have to quantify that, because you can have multiple properties and own a lot of things that equates to, money. It may not be tangible, but
it might not be $1 million in your bank, but you making $1 million to sustain. So
I would say in my late 30s. I mean,
when you made $1 million, but when was the first time you had $1 million in your bank?
$1 million cash? Oh hell, my 50s.
Exactly, right?
My 50s.
Which is
I literally said, damn, I got $1 million sitting in the bank, or I got $2-3 million sitting over here. Well, shit, yeah. But let me qualify something now. I want to make sure you understand me.
Yeah, she's definitely minority certified.
Being a business owner. Just because you got $1 million in the bank, don't mean you can go spend a damn $1 million, okay? So, I can have $10 million in the bank right now. That don't mean that I can go spend all $10 million of them. I got shit to do, bills to pay, people to feed.
And you got to have like a little cushion just in case.
Oh yeah, there been days that been no cushion. There been days that ass has been sitting on the wood, okay? But I will tell you this, to being successful, credit is the key. Unfortunately, we live in a society where you're judged by credit. People, they say you're good if you pay your credit, you ain't if you don't. I would encourage you, because of the society and the world that we live in, pay your bills and pay them on time. Because what that tells people is that you are a person of your word.
They say you real as fuck. What's your IG? But she not on Instagram like that.
Happy New Year to all of you too.